I'm telling the Discord.
Hey everybody, this is James Belton. I am here with John from KERC. We are currently in Malaysia. I know this is not the normal time that I go live. It's 4 p.m. here, but back in the States, I think it's the middle of the night. So a lot of you people will probably be watching this as a replay, which is totally fine. You just can't answer or ask your questions live. But having a great time. I'm a little bit jet lagged, so you'll have to excuse me if I fall asleep. John said he'll take over for me as we're going. But just want to talk about KERC and kind of what I've been learning as I'm here, what I've been doing while I'm here. The main thing that we're focusing on here today is the pre-sale is live right now. So just want to show you, let me bring up that real quick, the pre-sale right here. And we'll talk about that. You just connect your wallet and you do USDC, USDC.E, or USDT on Ethereum or Polygon. Is that correct?
BSC and ETH as well.
Oh my goodness, look at that. Chains. They give you so many options. Thanks, John, for doing that. So before we get going, let's go ahead. I always like to start with introductions. Some of these people have probably never heard of you. They've never heard of KERC. So let's start quick with an introduction of you, and then we'll jump into KERC a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So I think one thing we also like to tell everyone is that we have our other co-founder here as well. He's in the background, so we'll definitely have some time to ask him any questions, if any dying questions you want to know about him as well. He's looking at James. James is looking at him right now.
Yeah, and I want to just explain to you a little bit why. So John is very doxed. I see him. He is a real person. He's not make believe, so that's always good to see. The other co-founder, he does a lot of work with the government and stuff around here in Malaysia. So he's doxed to me. I'm looking at him right now. He is your KYC'd with solid proof. So we can talk about that if you guys have any questions or anything like that. But he wants to, at least for now, not be on camera just to not mess with any of the government stuff that they have going on. So a lot of good stuff going on. That reminds me, please hit like if you're watching. And if you have questions or anything you want to address, even criticisms, this would be the time. If you're hesitant, you're like, no, I don't want to invest into KERC because of X, Y, or Z. Now would be the time to bring up X, Y, or Z because John's right here and he can't get away. He'll have to answer. So feel free to bring that up, or even if there's just anything you want to talk about. So this is John. John, tell us a little bit about KERC. I always like to start with the elevator pitch.
Yep.
But tell us about KERC and what it is that you're doing with KERC.
Yeah, so what KERC is looking at is to basically disrupt the whole healthcare service using blockchain technology and services that are already available. And what we're doing is we are starting off with acquiring general practitioner assets to then push back all these returns to all the investors that we have. I think that's like a super short summary. Okay,
yes. And that was the first thing I did when first thing I did was I took a short nap and then ate some breakfast. But then we went to one of the clinics that you guys have already purchased, correct? And kind of the way I understand it, you guys know in the US, we have like the urgent care clinics, right? They have a very similar thing here, except for they have a lot of them. I've been surprised going around in KL. What's the real
Kuala
Lumpur. Okay. Every time I say it, people say I'm not saying it correctly, but KL. But there's a lot of them around here. And so what they've kind of been doing is taking capital, buying these clinics, and kind of the more distressed ones is what you're usually looking for. Is that right?
Yeah. We're obviously looking at both sides. We're looking at the ones who are doing great revenue, and as well as the distressed one, because obviously in a clinic space is quite private, so you can't really sort of say like, oh, I need to be bought out or I am distressed per se. So it's sort of like we need to approach them case by case basis and clinic by clinic basis, and especially when the community is a bit small. So most often than not, we sort of get wind in terms of like what's happening around and stuff like that. And this is where we sort of target these guys, and this is where also the severe undervaluedness of where we sort of can enter in, and that's where we see a lot of the profits and margins.
Yeah. So you think about like in real estate, you go find a property that it's rough around the edges a little bit, and you immediately see, oh, I could do this, this, and this. I could improve it, and if I want to rent it out, I can make more money doing that. So that's basically what they've been doing with these clinics. And how many clinics do you currently have that you've done this process with?
So we have experience managing about 80 to 90 assets, but currently personally under our company, we have about 9. And we are looking to manage more as well indirectly. Yeah.
Okay. And then can you kind of go through, we talked about this earlier, but can you go through kind of what are some of the things that you do to improve these clinics from when you get on, like the one that we looked at today? What are some things that you're doing to improve that?
Yeah, so obviously today we are able to show James a little bit more about, like, I would say, the infrastructure things and what we could upgrade and change. And obviously we explained to him how the whole process sort of works, because it takes time to sort of introduce new things to a business that's already very mature. When you look at all these primary care assets, they are very, how would say, homey based, and all of the, I would say, what the clients are a bit like used to the doctors, so they don't like too many changes, they don't like too many modernization. But what we do on the back end, first and foremost, is basically introduce our tech systems. So we introduce clinic managing systems, we do inventory systems, we cover a lot of the leakage, and as we said, like, we sort of introduce little things that sort of bring up the revenue and as a whole. And when we start bringing this infrastructure in, the revenue obviously starts turning up, because we start attracting newer clients as well, and as well as introducing new, I would say, systems in place. Like, if the clinic doesn't have an ultrasound or doesn't have an X-ray machine, this is where we introduce those things into the assets and basically start pumping up those revenues.
Okay, yeah, and you guys we talked about too how you guys have gotten better at this as you've done, because they've done 9 now so far and looking to do you have any thoughts on how many you want to end up with?
I think we sort of set the ballpark as of now at about like 80 to 90. That's what we did before, in that sense. This is where we are sort of a comfortable range, but obviously we are not going to cap it at that, because we have a global mindset in place where we're looking at probably South America next, Singapore, and also Thailand and Indonesia.
Okay, so basically, so they buy these clinics, they improve them by adding like X-ray machine, things like that. Then that starts to cash flow, and then they just go repeat that process. And over time, that's what I was talking about. Over time, they've gotten better at this process. So they've kind of learned, hey, here are things that we can do that really improve the revenue. And you talked about leakage. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? I thought that was interesting, but just quick ways to gain some extra revenue through that.
Yeah, for sure. So a lot of times whenever you handle medication, I think this is one interesting conversation we can dive into in this AMA, is that when you talk about medication, you talk about consumable. Obviously, the expiry dates, their shelf lifetime spans, and these things that sort of get involved. And most often when you don't sort of have these on a timer or in an inventory that is, I would say, digital, because a lot of these businesses are normally pen and paper. So you get sort of missed out a lot of these things. So, and a lot goes into wastage. So you start saving a lot in terms of margins, like maybe like 4-5% every single month, just making sure that you don't over order or you basically under order in that sense. So this sort of helps that whole process. And as well as we go into a group, we can start buying things in bulk where we normally don't need to per se. So when you start doing that, then you get a better discount and basically increases your margins bit by bit.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. So like we talked about, improving queue management, so that is a source of leakage if people are no shows for their appointments, things like that. And like you said, buying medications in bulk. So if you have 9 clinics, you can get a better deal when you buy stuff. If you had 90 clinics, you could get an even better deal. So that'll save some money. So all these different ways to make revenue. And I know this is kind of a difficult question to answer, but what kind of revenue are you looking at, or what kind of percentage return? And I don't know how much detail you can go into or anything like that, or if you want to jump in on any of these numbers. Yeah. But what kind of revenue should people be expecting or looking at?
So generally, we have 3 types of clinics that we look into and invest into. We have the what we call the 40-50 patient clinics. They generally do an average of $1,000 to $2,000 a day, so around $30,000 to $60,000 a day a month in revenue. And when you put that on a run rate, you look at $720,000 a year. So generally, these clinics, they are what we call a bread and butter. They don't really require a high OPEX to operate. They don't really require a lot of personnel to operate. So these clinics can have a decent margin. Generally, on the high side, you would see margins at 65% EBITDA, 70% EBITDA. I've explained why we use a EBITDA calculation in our Discord before.
Okay.
Simply because every clinic that you buy, you have different depreciation schedules. You have different amortization schedules for medical equipment that you have. and you have different taxation benefits when you buy a certain equipment with a certain supplier, or if the corporate structure for this is newer and the government has a policy that allows you to have some tax benefits. So when you talk about net profit, these have an impact on net profit. Generally, obviously, I come from a corporate development background, so we obviously want to ensure that we structure it in a way that we maximize net profit, right? So, but for the investors to judge, we use the EBITDA model, and generally we look at 65 to 70 on the high side. And when you initially start, you're looking at anywhere between 25 to 30%.
Okay. No, very good. So let's gonna get hard numbers for the pre-sale. So in order to buy these clinics, you guys need some capital, obviously, to go buy these. So right now we're at like 220 some raised, something like that. 212 is what we're currently at. 200. So for 212, how many clinics? Is that enough to get a clinic, or what would happen if we stopped the pre-sale right now? And then let's do the other extreme too. Let's say you hit the 2.5 million. What would kind of be the plan with that?
Great question. So obviously we have to use what resources we have, and we generally use structured methodologies for acquisition. So it's not like we use all cash buyouts unless the price is really good. So that gives us leeway to acquire more clinics and, add that as into the OPEX of the clinic as we're running it. Or ideally, if we raise the whole 2.5 million, that gives us the leeway to be able to say, hey, you know what, we have cash up front, we can buy clinics at a discount. So when you're looking at distressed, mismanaged, undermanaged clinics, you generally can say, I will offer you this price. This is my price. It's a cash buy. And just like real estate, for example, you can generally negotiate discounts. So depending on how much we raise, we'll have to choose the strategy that fits the most based on the amount that we raise.
Yeah. Nope, that makes a lot of sense. So, and if you didn't get the pre-sale, you would still continue on with this business plan. It would just take longer, right? Because you have revenue coming in from these other clinics. So it's just slower. So really an influx of capital is just a way to supercharge growth. And when I do venture capital deals, that's what I'm really looking for. I'm looking for businesses that basically just need capital to light the fire on the business, and just, hey, all we need to grow is capital. We don't need anything else. We don't really need your advice. We don't need anything else. We just need your capital, and we will grow faster. So it's really cool to have found that here. I also wanted to say too, something unique about you guys, that this is what I like about BioFi also, is usually what I see in this industry is I see businesses that start with a token or start with an NFT, and then they try to build a business off of what they raise. So they kind of quickly, they're Ponzi at first, and then they try to quickly, okay, now we got to, quickly, let's try to not be a Ponzi and start a business. And honestly, I'm tired of that. In a lot of ways, I'm tired of the DeFi space. In a lot of ways, it's just, we have to stop putting money into bad things that lose money. So what I like about BioFi and what I like about you guys is you did it the opposite. You started with a business, and then you're just looking to get capital to grow that business faster. And we talked about it earlier, and I think it's a good question. Why didn't you just go the venture capital route? Why didn't you just say, hey, James, give us $1 million and we'll go that way? Why did you not go the venture capital direction?
I think it's very simple, because at the end of the day, when you have something really good and you know that is something that definitely you can grow, we do not want to give up too many equity at the start, because when we go to a venture capital, yes, they inject a lot of funds, but that means also they want a lot of control. And with what we are trying to do in terms of introducing new disruptions to the medical field, sometimes if you go to a PE, what they're probably going to do is they're going to say, hey, look, revenue first, I don't care whatever disruption you're doing. And that sort of throws us off the ability to start introducing things that sort of take a bit more time to sort of onboard and grow into that direction we sort of want. So obviously, I think what we've decided on is let's try out and see if we can build a whole DeFi project around this, and if we can basically gather people to see what we are trying to do and the vision in terms of what we're trying to build, then everyone wins in terms of that, rather than just one big player who's sort of, again, pooling everybody's funds on the other side.
Yeah. And also John's been very involved in DeFi, and just like you like the space, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of a fun space. It is a great way to raise capital. And again, what we've been missing in the space is just actual businesses that are bringing in actual revenue that aren't promising 60% a month or 30% a month or anything like that. So no, yeah, really good. First question coming in from Nuno Silva. Thanks for watching. I forgot to say hello to everyone that's here too. But Danny, thanks for joining my community. But Nuno says, can't find your token on Dex screen. Where can we see the token graph, stats, etc.? Will it be on CoinMarketCap? So it's in pre-sale right now, but are you planning on being on CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap and all that?
Yes, so that will be down the road for sure, because I think the first thing that when we built this again was on a sustainable business model, because a lot of the traditional businesses cannot sustain a very high fluctuation at a very early stage. So we need to make sure that whatever capital we deploy is at a very sustainable stage before we start moving into DEX, the bigger DEXs and bigger SEXs at the end of the day. So what we're starting off is definitely if you look into a white paper, would be a dynamic OTC system first. Then we're also starting at the same time down the road a little bit after a few weeks after we launched the OTC system, we are going to launch an LP in RBDEX. So think of it I always say like we are going on a SEX essentially, but it's our own SEX where the OTC market is basically the spot buy, while the LP is sort of like the future. So whatever we pay out on will be based on the OTC market, while the LP will basically run on its own and produce, basically letting people sort of arbitrage the differences and the balances of the tokens.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that's very important because it allows investors to have liquidity to exit while we're going through the period, and the investors that choose to stake get the airdrops and the rewards, and having the both options for the investors, I think it makes it a little bit sexier.
No pun intended. I was going to say, when he says sex, he means CEX, not SEX. So
very important.
Yeah, very important to get that straight. I do not want to get demonetized. And you talked about, this is something been getting a lot of questions about. Can you kind of explain the dynamic OTC and the dynamic LP? And again, explain it to us like we're five. Yeah, maybe like 7. 5 is a little bit too young, but yeah, can you kind of explain how this works exactly?
Yeah, for sure. So the OTC system is basically our internal OTC system. The reason why we say dynamics because you don't have to sell the whole chunk of your holdings in your whole bag at one go. You can basically put your whole bag there, and basically people can buy a certain portion of it. That's what we mean by dynamic.
Okay, maybe we should start with what is OTC.
Yeah, so OTC is over the counter, so it's peer-to-peer transaction. We felt like this would be a great start to creating a very sustainable token price, because you would basically only be able to sell to people who sort of believe in your project, and that's what we want to be able to do. Because initially, when we created this whole business model, we needed to ensure that it was not swing trader friendly. We didn't want to create an environment where, like any other DeFi project, where you put in a token, people will just come in, pump in, and dump it eventually, and we didn't want that. So this is why we sort of put the OTC system in, so that we can put our par token price on the OTC system rather than the DEX, because the DEX will basically or the CEX will basically run on itself, the price based on people who sort of see where our value and where we are going to basically pay out on. So think of it sort of like the bond market, where obviously there's going to be the speculation and what's going to be on the paid out to all the investors for the bonds.
Okay, yeah, and if that doesn't make sense to you, I would hop in the Discord and really keep digging until it kind of clicks in your mind what they're doing and how they're doing this. Again, the reason that these type of tokenomics came into being was because just from seeing other projects and what's failed and what's worked and what hasn't worked, and then kind of you put this together based on, hey, we've seen this, and this. But if it doesn't make sense to you, if you're not familiar with liquidity pools and how DEXs work and all that, this is a great time to learn that, I think. So hop in the Discord. People are more than happy, not me, but other people be more than happy to kind of explain how that works and how this is going to work in this project in particular. Then do you want to explain the dynamic LP as well?
So the reason also why we call it a dynamic LP, it's not straight LPs, because obviously we are not going to put in a big liquidity into the LP. The main reason why, like as we said before, it's more of an opportunity for people to sort of arbitrage the token, because there's always going to be different investors and different appetites in terms of what you want to do, essentially. So this sort of creates an early exit if, let's just say, you don't want to wait on OTC, or maybe you see an opportunity that the OTC pricing is maybe lower than the LP, or the LP is higher than the OTC. This is where we sort of see the opportunity for people to sort of work out the pricing where they deem is valuable. So what we're going to do is we're going to let that sort of run and normalize to a certain point, and then when we do that, that's when we sort of move towards a CX for sure.
Okay, and then kind of the DEX price. The kind of the goal and what will probably happen because of arbitrage is it will sit at the OTC price, because like you say here, if the OTC price gets lower, then people will buy OTC and sell on the DEX, and that'll lower the DEX and raise the OTC, and then vice versa. So it kind of results in you being kind of able to set the price where you need it. Okay, and then can you talk about, so is there going to be staking?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
So how we are going to sort of control the pricing and return the investments to, the returns to the investors is through our staking, because obviously this is a long-term project in a sense where we are not going to run away in like 6 months or 1 year. We're looking to be a long and sustainable project. We have plans for more than 5 years and beyond. If we shared a little bit with James, that we will share in time with our community as we go, because these are plans that we have, and until it happens, then we will sort of like start sharing it more. So that's why we want longer term holders with us. We basically want to reward the longer term holders as well, and at the same time, because we are looking at real world assets, if there's any time in a sense, for example, some people suddenly want to exit the project, in a sense, I always need to look at the worst case scenario. So if that ever happens, it also takes time for sort of like liquidate the assets to basically maybe pay out investors and stuff like that. So we see this as a more sustainable system, and I think this will sort of have everyone at a more healthier place, because a traditional business, you're not going to buy a business and exit in 6 months. You're going to sit on it for a couple of years, because the return is going to be natural, and it's just going to be a long-term holding for you as well.
Okay, very good. Then let's talk about the pre-sale. So raising a maximum of 2.5 million pre-sale will launch. It's launched already, so it's going right now. Again, I'll post this link to the pre-sale here. Let me put that there. We do have Leia Samira says, why is it that we cannot see the one who's speaking on the background? So yeah, we talked a little bit about that. We knew that would come up. But again, he's working with some government advising on some things and things like that. And so just for now, at some point, maybe he'll come on camera, but you just don't want to jeopardize those government relationships. And it's just not something I want to do quite yet, but I can see him. He's a real person. He's good. He's a good looking guy. He's normal looking and doesn't look like a scammer or anything like that. So, no, that's good, but good question. We knew that question would come up. Yeah, pre-sale bonus. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yes. So what is going to happen is that I think you need to go to the token side. There is going to be where the tokenomics will be.
Go here.
Yes. No, this one.
This one.
I can go.
Okay.
So what happens is that we know that at the end of the day, we can return that sustainable, we try to reach that 6 to 12%, as we always speak about. But as a traditional business, and when we start acquiring these traditional businesses, it takes time for us to sort of get to that level. It's not going to be immediate. Obviously, as we said, turnkey processes take time, and it's not going to be like in a month or two. It will take some time for us to get from their original revenue up to where we want them to be, and we know we can sort of bring them to be. So in this sense, we've created a bonus where we're going to reward our earliest investors to get you to that stage, later stage, where let's just say you were to come in to our project 12 months later on, you would sort of see that, but we want to reward you earlier in that sense. So this is where we sort of give these airdrop bonuses to get you to that level that we are definitely happy to give out.
Okay.
I'd like to rally on what John said. Like KERC, what we're building is a long-term sustainable project. And we understand that being in the traditional business, it's going to take time. And that's really why the airdrops even exist. It's to reward early investors that come in the pre-sale so that they can experience greater rewards as we build up and build this for a long-term project. We're looking at, John said, 5 years, even up to 10 years, and what rewards will look like over that long period of time. So we're not looking at a 1 year plan and then, okay, sorry, but we're looking at,
yeah. Yep. No, absolutely. And I always we talked about this on our last AMA, I remember, but I always because you are taking on more risk getting in a pre-sale on something. Like we've seen rug pulls, we've seen things not work out. You know, we've seen that happen over and over again. So you are taking more risk when you get in early. So it makes sense. You're taking on more risk, but there's more reward. Or you can wait if you want to. You can say, okay, you know what? I'm not interested in pre-sales anymore. I've been burned. And so you can wait, and there's just lower reward, which is fine. You know, maybe that's what you're interested in. So these are the rewards here if you wait till the public sale for the official launch.
That would be correct. So obviously, we're going to reward, like I said, reward the pre-sales pre-sellers way early and way in advance. I would say definitely for sure, because we know, like what if you're looking at tokenomics, the reason why we don't put 1.5% every month is because it is something that we know is stupid proof. It's something that's completely sustainable. If your traditional business does not do more than 1.5% of your investment month on month, you essentially it's not a good business at all. So we know we can definitely do higher than that month on month for sure. So we put a lower cap. But if we increase your holding, your Kirk holdings by the end of the 12 months, because you come in the pre-sale, that essentially jumpstart you way into the behind.
And I'd like to add why 1.5 is extremely sustainable for us. 1.5 is sustainable for us simply because a lot of the assets are undervalued. In Southeast Asia, we get to experience and leverage the fact that these assets are undervalued. So when we acquire them and we turn them into turnkey businesses, being able to return 1.5% per month is sustainable for us. You know, if you acquire a turnkey business for a premium, then you're saying I provide 1.5%. That's more difficult to do. But in the business model that we have, with the investment thesis that we have, this 1.5% once we take a distressed, mismanaged, undermanaged business, or even a business that is doing rather well, and turn them into a turnkey asset that can generate 60%, 70% EBITDA, returning 1.5% per month on the invested capital is not an issue.
Okay. Are you able to put any like real numbers onto that? Like it's valued at this, but it's currently making this amount of revenue, and we're able to turn it into this?
Great question. So generally, we look at the type of clinic. So let me give a real life example that we've done in the past. A solo practitioner sells his clinic for about $100,000, and generally that $100,000, the clinic would be making roughly about $200,000 in revenue a year. So basically what we bought it for is one-time profit. And so when we buy it for one-time profit, we're basically investing $100,000 for $100,000 in profit. But that's not a turnkey business. So when we add our turnkey solutions and we build into it, and as I told you earlier, right, there's the different types of pairs that we integrate into the business, we can turn that $100,000 profit or that $200,000 revenue into $250,000, $300,000 in year one, which then allows us to get $150,000 in profit, which then allows us to make 50%, quote unquote, on our invested capital, which then allows us to return 1.5%.
Okay. Nope. That makes a lot of sense. And then does return end at the end of that year?
No, it's ongoing, because year two, we've already paid off the invested capital. Now everything is basically profit.
Okay. Gotcha. And then we had a good question from, let's see, where did it go? Nuno, please walk us through the token buy process. Will it work with MetaMask when you can? Yes, it will work with MetaMask. I want to see, I'm on my laptop, so I don't have my multiple monitors, so it's harder to get this figured out here. But let's see, I want to do entire screen. You're going to get screenception for like 1 second here, okay? But don't worry. Okay. Let me just make sure you guys can see this now. Yeah, okay. So if you go here, we'll see what I have in my wallet. I don't even know what's in this wallet, but you're going to connect your wallet. There's all these great options here. So you know, MetaMask is what most people have. That's what I believe I have on. Ooh, yeah. Look away, John. I don't even know what it is on this laptop, honestly. Let me try this. There is a forgot. Okay, yeah, there we go. This will work. So then you connect. I'm currently on Polygon. Hopefully I do have a little bit of USDC here. You guys will see me live. I'll put in 1,000 USDC right here. You got to approve it. Confirm. Give it just a minute while it does that. Let's see. MetaMask is sometimes finicky, of course, because it's not showing up. Let me just try it again. Anytime you do something live, it doesn't work. But I think this is MetaMask. You know, it might be because I don't have my ledger plugged in.
Yeah, if you link it to your ledger, then probably not.
Yeah. So we'll just approve here, and then like it'll show your USDC balance, and you just do 1,000 and click deposit, and then you should be good to go after that. Then do they have to stake or anything like that?
Yes, so that will be released after the pre-sale. We'll create a more instructional video and hopefully a nice infographic in terms of how to do that as well.
Okay. This is going to bother me though. Why? It should give me an error or something. Honestly, MetaMask is not the best wallet, but it's just what I have and what I've always used. And so it's what I continue to use. But I have a lot of problems with MetaMask, if I'm totally honest. So yeah.
Snorky was telling us another wallet.
Yeah.
Which one was Snorky? Which one was he saying?
Rabby.
Okay. I should try another one. I have trouble with MetaMask a lot. But that's basically how you do it. It's fairly straightforward. And then, yeah, there'll be a dApp that you can go ahead and stake in. And if you're having troubles, please do hop in the Discord. Again, somebody, not me, again, but someone. Yeah, there we go. AB says, switch to Rabby, James. You'll wonder why you didn't do it sooner. I really should. Honestly, I'm just kind of lazy. Like, I just don't like changing things because then it's like I have to, redo processes. Also, a lot of projects only let you connect to MetaMask. So I'm glad that you guys didn't do it that way. But Snorky says it's time to switch to Rabby for sure. So maybe I'll give that a try. Maybe on the plane on the way home, that's what I'll do is I'll try to switch to Rabby. So, but yeah, definitely my takeaways. I'm going to do a full video when I get back home. I'm going to do a full video on kind of my takeaways from the trip. What I can't really say exactly what I thought with John sitting right here. Like that would be kind of strange. But no, really like these two. Got to get to know them. First thing I noticed when I got into the car with John, he's listening to worship music. And I was like, hey, what do you know? He loves Jesus. So that's amazing. That was great to see. We've had a lot of fun together. Got to go see the clinics. We went and toured a hospital that you guys are kind of have a partnership with a little bit. Very nice. It's nicer than any hospital I've seen in the States. When you think about Malaysia, I'm an ignorant American. I don't know anything. But when I think of Malaysia, I think of I just think of like jungles and I don't know. I didn't really know what to expect, but I went into this, and there is some of that, but I went into this hospital. It was nicer than like any hospital I've seen in the States. And they have a partnership, basically like a referral partnership with this hospital. So just a lot of cool things going on there. Leiu's asking, have you seen their business plan? Yes. Yeah, I would say yes. I went through kind of a lot of their numbers. That's what we just got done here on the TV here. We went through the numbers from just some of the different clinics. We went through the numbers on even some other clinics and like the potential. We went through one, there was a 90 clinics, 60 clinics company, and kind of the numbers and how these clinics are very profitable. And again, like you were saying, especially if you get them undervalued, then that just makes if you get it for normal value and you get normal return, that's pretty profitable. But if you're able to get it undervalued because it's distressed or because the doctor who started it is getting old and just wants to be done, or there's a lot of different reasons that you can get these things kind of at a discount, but then you're still making that same revenue. So it's just, even better return there, but it's very profitable. I'll say too that as I toured the clinic and as I looked through their numbers, I've been trying to find ways for me to get more involved. Like how much, like if I can just give you $1 million, can you go buy me a clinic, or how does this going to work? So hopefully we'll find a way to get other partnerships together, but really cool to be able to be part of a cash flowing business on day one through crypto. Normally if this was a venture capital deal, the only way you'd be able to get in here in the States is if you were an accredited investor. You'd have to have $1 million net worth. They'd probably have a 50K minimum, and that's how you'd have to get in. So just crypto kind of opens this up. It's very cool. How about their licenses to operate? Yeah, do you want to talk about the licenses required?
Yeah, so definitely the business licenses are quite stringent here. We showed James in terms of like how tough it is to sort of get those up in operations in a sense. We didn't really get to sort of showcase that because time constraint, in terms of like we're just touring him around the whole day in a sense. But definitely we're going to dive deeper into some of that later on. But we have all the licenses we require to operate because we do have these assets already as well. It's just about just expanding them.
Yeah, and then because I asked if you guys had thought about starting your own clinics rather than buying distressed ones. And when you buy a clinic, you get its licenses. Is that right?
So basically, with each clinic, you would apply for new licenses. So you get what we call a Borang F, which just means Form F. And then you have a registered doctor with the MMC, and you get them in, and they become your PIC. So generally, you need a healthcare company to be able to operate this. So we have the operating history to be able to do that. And once you get all these licenses in, you generally can operate a GP clinic. And if you want to have specializations, you have to have specific specialists to join in and add to those licenses.
Okay, cool. Yep. Nope. Hopefully that answers Leo. And again, if you have more questions or want to know about specific licenses or anything like that, hop in the Discord. Do you want to talk a little bit about, I'd love to just kind of get your take. If everything goes according to plan, where do you see this in 3 years?
Okay, so definitely we have talked about this a little bit as well, personally, and we've definitely shared more detail in terms of our plans, in terms of where we want it to be. Because at the end of the day, every project you sort of build, you need to have an ultimate vision, but at the same time, you cannot get too caught in the clouds because you need to realize what's sustainable and what you could sort of build those building steps towards what you essentially want. So in 3 years, definitely we see this project being able to return more in profit participation to all our investors for sure. And definitely we see a lot of synergies and introduction of new business opportunities within those frames of what we are, because especially when your valuation of your assets start going up, the whole holdings could start growing. And that means that we can start looking at different opportunities and partnerships with different companies and even VCs and PEs to maybe even start coming in to inject different capital to build certain things. So you need to remember again that this is a business that is being introduced into the crypto world. It's not a crypto project that sort of then we figure out what's the business behind it. So in a sense of the business mindset and business sound is sort of what we structured around the project in a sense.
Okay.
I'll add to that. In 3 years, what we see ourselves having is a pretty large chain of clinics, about 100 clinics, a decent amount of pharmacies, labs, dental centers, and along the GP line, not OBGYN centers, OSH, occupational health and safety clinics, basically everything in the GP's
general practice,
but with certain subsets in certain specialties that will allow us to still operate in the primary care zone, but have these clinics and these labs and pharmacies and primary care healthcare assets all create a healthcare ecosystem that will allow us to really be a massive player in Southeast Asia.
Okay. Yeah, we talked about how it's really cool being here, because I feel like in the States there isn't this kind of opportunity. Because I was thinking about in the States, like our urgent cares are already all owned by huge companies, and there's no distressed urgent, at least in Lincoln, Nebraska, where I'm from, that we don't have distressed urgent care clinics or anything like that. So it's been cool just walking around. I've even been looking at some of the restaurants and things like that and being like, man, if they just made a better sign, this could take off, and things like that. But there's just, in some of these developing countries, there's just a lot more opportunity for things like that. It's really exciting. So I've had a really good time talking with these guys, and it gets your entrepreneurial juices flowing a bit. Let's see. Are the clinics and hospitals registered under the government and recognized by the government?
Yes.
Yes, that's the only way you can open a hospital clinic in the sense.
Yeah, and so that would be what a lot of the licenses are, is basically the government the government acknowledging, hey, they've done all that they need to do to run something like this. So it's not just, it's not the Wild West. Anyone can just open up a clinic left and right.
No.
So that would be what the licenses are for.
It's a pretty strict process. like I was telling you, like how even in banking, I was telling you, like Malaysia, we have a very strict process. So to go through the hoops, you do need a lot of experience in the space.
Okay. Awesome. Well, anything else that you guys want to touch on? I'm going to put you on the spot for one thing. So if I want, honestly, I really liked what I saw here today. If I wanted to put in like 25K, can I wire that to you or something, or do I need to send it to Gemini, buy USDC, and do it that way, or should I just go through the pre-sale form the normal way?
Yes, so if you have a larger amount, definitely we can work out something with Snockify basically for you if that's more secure. But obviously we do prefer the DApp because we like everything to be transparent and on chain, and so you can see everything as well. Not like if you OTC it to us, you won't see it. You will see it because our contract address is there, the multi-sigs are there in a sense. So everything is transparent in a sense. But definitely we can work something out for sure.
Okay, we'll talk about. I just don't want to pay Gemini's fees. Is really what I'm trying to avoid. So we'll talk about. We'll work something out. I know you guys talked a bit about the expected returns already, but realistically, how many years or months would take to get my investment back to break even point?
So this is where it's sort of really beneficial for you to come in during the pre-sale, because with the pre-sale airdrop bonuses, and if you, for example, I wouldn't say the word compound, but in the sense of if you put in all your rewards and you put in all your Kirk back into the whole project again, you would technically ROI your investment holding by month about 6 or 8 in that sense, around there. And if you were to hold for the whole year, if in that sense, if you look at it, you're going to look to get your holdings back for sure. And in terms of the USDC profit returns, definitely you're looking at a minimum, I would say, of safe just to be really, really safe. You're probably looking at 14 months to maybe less if we can do better in the profit participation. So this also obviously contingents on a lot of I would say the people that are sort of coming on board at this time moment, and also the performances, because again, as a traditional business, there are a lot of aspects where sometimes when we start turnkeying a lot of these assets, they can perform really, really well, because maybe that area just needed that, because we've seen that before, and sometimes obviously it doesn't turn out as high as we expect. So it will be unfair for me to give you a very specific number, because obviously financially it's impossible. I can only give you projections, which we will also start doing. I think we've got some infographics worked out in that sense, because we are really numbers guys. We like our Excel sheets, we like our charts, but I think we sort of need to make it into more infographic and more friendly things for everyone, so understand where our headspace is for sure.
Yeah, no, I think that'll be helpful. Yeah, just realizing that not everyone is good with numbers, because these guys are very smart. I'll say that they're very smart. And so for us less smart people, we need more help with charts and stuff. We need pretty charts so we can tell what's going on. But this is not like an NFT or something where your initial is gone and it's burned, but you'll have the token so you can sell that. So really, like, you could get your initial back day as soon as the OTC market opens.
Yeah.
Potentially. So it's kind of not the right way to think of it. It's not like drip, where you get your funds locked and then you're slowly getting them out, and it's going to take 8 months for me to get my initial back or something like that. That's not really it. This is going to be a more liquid asset. So hopefully that helps. Let's see. We got good questions coming in. Thank you for asking, by the way. Hey guys, one question. What are the main Kirk sales points for clinics you contact? What is the value addition you create to them? Thank you.
Yeah, I think we covered that just now. Definitely the digital assets, in the sense of digitization of a lot of their assets, introducing more digitalization in terms of their operations and systems in place, introducing more equipment and more services, because we have the capital to sort of back us to sort of do that. And obviously the magic in the whole volume of owning multiple chains, in a sense, sort of creates that unison narrative that we can sort of give to the consumers. So imagine like when you go to maybe a fried chicken store versus going to KFC, in a sense, you get a different experience because you sort of know what you're going to get when you come into a chain. So in that sense, we create this unified value, definitely, for sure.
Yeah. And you talked about one big one that stood out to me was, like buying an X-ray machine, for example. A clinic might not have one, and it might be a good area to have an X-ray machine. And so that's one thing you can do right off the bat is you can buy an X-ray machine, and then that's more revenue right off the bat. And the reason that the existing clinic might not do that is just, first off, they might just not have the umption. A lot of people just are not entrepreneurial. They're not looking to expand. They're like, we became a doctor to heal people, not, grow a business or something like that. I would say from my perspective, that's the main thing you guys bring, is your business people coming in, kind of showing, thinking through it from a business perspective.
I'll add to what John said, right? So in addition to being able to add more medical equipment and more breadth of services, in addition to digitization, being a group of clinics, we bring a lot more payers on board. So instead of just having self-paying cash patients, we can bring in corporate insurers, we can bring in direct corporate billings, we bring in government-sponsored patients, we bring in insurance patients. So we have a membership program. So we have a breadth of types of patients that can come in to be a customer or be a patient in our clinics, which allows us to do things other mom and pop clinics cannot do. But of course, other large clinics also will have the same opportunities.
Yeah, nope, that makes sense. And as you guys get bigger, there'll be more opportunities.
Of course.
So very good. Would the healthcare are you looking to expand global or just in Southeast Asia?
So definitely looking to expand globally. Southeast Asia is just a start, because again, this is a great opportunity where the market is not as mature as the rest of where everywhere is in terms of the business sense of, I would say, attacking this opportunity that we sort of see going on here. So the next stop is definitely Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand. Then we're moving to South America, where there's also that opportunity. But the reason is because you get way more volume and in terms of mileage for your dollar here, in terms, because we are raising in US dollars, and there's arbitrage of currency conversion that we are benefiting from.
And it goes back to what we were saying earlier today when we were having this conversation. We want to invest in healthcare systems that we understand. We want to invest in models, in what the proof of concept that we're building in Malaysia. We want to invest in countries where we see replicability and duplicability, that we can do it again without trying to relearn an entire system.
Yeah.
We don't want to be going in blind, simply saying, oh, we're investing all over the world. We want to think globally, yes, but we want to go into specific areas where there are gaps and there are similarities, scale quickly rather than have to spend time learning through failure, which is nothing wrong. But once you've learned through that failure, you want to look for areas where you can just scale. Yeah,
absolutely. And these two grew up in Malaysia. So again, that's why they're starting there, is they know it. You have medical family background. And so it's an area they know. They saw problems. Hey, we have a solution for this. And being the entrepreneurs they are, they said, hey, let's do this. So that's why Malaysia, it's not just a random country that, oh, hey, let's pick there, but that's where they grew up. So they know it very well. And then, obviously, if you're in the US, you probably don't know this, but Singapore and Indonesia, those are the countries around Malaysia. So it makes sense. You start what you know the best, and then Singapore is going to be very similar. So then you can kind of grow out from there. And then you can go, South America is going to be actually fairly similar financially and economically. And then maybe eventually, I'm skeptical about the U.S., but I know that might be in the in the future. But it's
going to be messy to enter the U.S. I can be honest, at least at that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. When will the OTC open?
So we are estimating about less than a month or a month after the pre-sale close, because we need to start tabulating things, and we basically want to introduce the stakers first before the OTC. So it should come in hand, but we will definitely be looking at development timelines for sure on that.
Okay. Thank you. One friend of mine is a doctor from Singapore who is a partner in one clinic and has an office in China also. Maybe we can have a chat.
For sure.
Yeah, please hop in the Discord and talk for sure. Do you have competitors?
I would say, in terms of the DeFi space, no, because as we were speaking before, what we're doing is nothing new per se. What we're doing is something that a lot of competitors are doing in smaller chunks. So for example, the digitization of health records, the telemedicine component, the pharmaceutical delivery, the wellness supplements and stuff like that. All these things are not new to the industry. It's more like we are basically going the other way around. Instead of building a product that we need to sort of sell to all the doctors and the people, we are already basically sort of, I would say, for lack of better term, buying our customers indirectly. So our competitors in terms of the business gate will be that, but in terms of the competitors, in terms of what we are doing, will be the PEs and VCs. But they are looking at a different spectrum because the amount they are basically buying into is in the hundreds of millions. So they're looking at larger hospitals, they're looking at larger facilities. They're not looking at going through one by one. Like I would say they won't have the hustle we have to sort of go through all the mom and pop.
I think I showed you one of the PE-owned clinics and how much they have in the account.
Yeah, it's crazy amount of money. Honestly, it made me. No. Honestly, looking through the numbers of some of these clinics, I was like, man, what am I doing investing in other things? Like I got to get into these clinics. So my brain's still on the plane ride on the way home. I'm going to be thinking of how can I get more involved in the Malaysian clinic industry. So, and actually, you brought up something that we haven't really talked about at all. But do you want to talk about? I thought it was kind of cool some of the plans you guys have for like putting the medical records on the blockchain, similar to what JennyCo's doing. But do you want to talk through some of those plans?
Yeah, for sure. So one key thing is that definitely what I normally don't talk about in other AMAs is because this is more of the technical side and this doesn't really sort of drive revenue, but it's definitely a plus feature that eventually will be monetizable. So what this means is that when we acquire our assets, we already have a large client base. And it's very easy for us to start introducing an application that will already come with a crypto wallet. So as you see before, those people sitting there waiting in the GP clinic are not a person that will go, hey, what is DeFi? What is Web3? What's the latest moon coin? These are not people like that. These are your regular old folks. They're not involved at all. As you guys, everyone knows that crypto adoption is not even 20% yet globally. I would say, I think if I'm not wrong, the number's not there yet. So a lot of people are still not involved in this space. So when we digitize their health records, it's very easy for us to ask them download this app. We will basically digitize it into the smart contracts in terms of all your health records. You already have a crypto wallet now. Then this will sort of spearhead and introduce different opportunities for them to maybe even monetize their health data down the road. Because at the end of the day, when it's on the smart contract and on the blockchain, we don't really exactly have control over that data because now it's yours because it's stored on basically in your wallet. So it's your keys, your token. So essentially, we now have the opportunity to give you, the consumers, the ability to basically monetize on what they normally wouldn't be able to.
Okay. Nope. Yep. I think that was great. Yeah. And it's, again, very similar to what JennyCo's doing. And there's a lot more too. We could do a very long AMA. In fact, go watch Ubonks. He's got a 3-hour AMA, but I think we touched on the main revenue sources, which is what as an investor we really want to be seeing. Tired of the Ponzi-nomics. And I'm very happy to find a business that has revenue coming in. So really, really appreciate that. Thank you, James, for bringing what seems to be a good project. Hope it will be a success. And and actually, you don't have to hope it will be a success. It's been a success already. And in fact, they don't need any of our funds at all. Like, if it'd be kind of they're wanting to grow faster, which all entrepreneurs do. That's a common question is, if you're making so much money, if you have revenue, why are you looking to raise money? But it's the nature of entrepreneurship is I'm the same way, but we never just sit back and just like, oh, I guess we'll just go with what's going. But there's always this push forward. And a lot of times it's capital that is the missing piece. So yeah, you don't really have to hope it will be a success. It's a success right now. 9 clinics already, and more to come. Oh, and I regret bringing up my what is the minimum for OTC consideration, and will OTC get the same perks as pre-salers? I should probably not have brought that up. I just didn't want to take 25K. I would take it from the stock market and put it into this, and I don't want to pay Gemini is the reason that I was doing that on 25K. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like, what's the minimum? If somebody wants to put in a big chunk,
I think within the same pre-sale time frame, we can work something out with Snorky.
Yeah, we can work something out for
Snorky. Okay, sure. But not for like 500, not for 1,000. I mean, maybe 5K, 10K,
probably more,
15K.
Maybe more in a sense, because I think we sort of have to work out a good way so that everyone's secure and everyone's safe at the end of the day. I think that's the key goal here, and that takes time. And so obviously, if we have like 500 people coming to us, I want a $500 investment.
I want a $50 OTC.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
and in the consideration, basically, you guys are getting the same exact thing. There's no difference, basically.
Yeah. Because the problem is, if you do it through the smart contract, it's all done automatically. Like if you do it through it's just all there. If you do it manually, they're gonna have to create a spreadsheet. Now they're gonna have, okay, we have what's on the DApp, and then also these 15 other people. And I just always ask for special treatment. So that's the only reason I said it. And we're on a video, so it's like he kind of has to say yes, I guess. A success for the Kirk side of things. Yeah, for the coin. No, I get what you mean. I was just giving you a hard time. So I'm a marketing guy. So let's see. We want to give people a nice win. Oh, yeah, Snorky. Good to see you, Snorky. We want to give people a nice win in crypto. Me and John have been burned, unfortunately, in a lot of projects where we've been invested. Yes, we all have, which does make raising funds in these market conditions a little bit more difficult. But again, one thing I like too about even the pre-sale and the way that you're doing it here is, it's fine to go slowly. Like if funds come in slowly, you'll just grow slowly. Like it's not a disaster. Or anything like that. So, but do want funds to come in. The more funds that come in, the faster things can move. So awesome. So I'm a marketing guy. Love calls to action. So I'm going to give you, audience, some calls to action. Whether you're watching this live or you're watching this tomorrow morning in the States, you wake up and actually it's really confusing because it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday evening right now, but now it's I don't know.
Morning.
Yeah, something like that. There was confusion with my wife. I said, you need to pick me up tomorrow night from the airport. She said, I thought Thursday night. I'm like, tomorrow night is Thursday night. She said, no, tomorrow night's Wednesday night. And it's confusing. Dustin made it on. Good to see you, man. We've all been burned. So let's get rid of the crap and get exposure to some nice projects without Ponzi-nomics. Amen, Nuno. I appreciate it. Honestly, there's been many I have not put money into hardly any DeFi projects here in the last. I don't know if you guys have noticed this. If you check I do a lot of AMAs, right? But if you check my spreadsheet, you'll notice it's the exact same projects month after month. And honestly, it's just because most stuff that's coming out, we don't need any more bots. Honestly, more bots is good enough. I don't need more than that. But I just have not seen things that I'm like, ooh, yeah, that looks interesting. And this is one of the first that I've seen where I'm like, hey, this is actual revenue coming in.
Yeah, I guess if not, you'd be crazy enough not to fly 30 hours just for
my goodness.
A few days.
Yeah, you guys don't know this. 30 hours of travel. I flew Lincoln to Chicago. Actually, my flight in Chicago got delayed, so I missed my flight to Tokyo. I had to spend the night in Chicago. Then flew 12 hours to Tokyo. Then I had a 7-hour layover in Tokyo, 7 hours flight. Then here, arrived 6 a.m. this morning. And then I have to be back in Lincoln on Friday for a wedding. So actually my flight goes out tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. So I was only here for 24 hours. But it was worth it just to meet you guys. And I actually like travel. It's not that bad. And I'll definitely be back and we'll spend some more time. I'll go see the sites and things like that. But yeah, I'm putting my body through the ringer. We'll say that. 4 a.m. Central here. Dustin, man, make sure you get enough sleep. You're finally on the correct side of the date line. Yeah, right. Yep. I guess in the U.S. it is now Wednesday. So Alyssa, my wife, if you're watching this tomorrow night at 9:30, pick me up at the airport, please.
That's a good call to action.
Yeah. There's a call to action. Snarky says next time I'll be there too. That'd be amazing. Yeah, I forgot about calls to action. Calls to action. Number one, whether you're watching this live or a replay, hit the like button. Okay, that helps out me. It helps get more exposure to the project. Hit the like button. It's free to you. You'd have to be a pretty selfish person, I think, to not hit the like button. I'm just kidding. You don't have to hit the like button, but I do appreciate it. John appreciates it, and unnamed over here also appreciates it as well. So hit the like button. Second off, this one's also free. Hop into the Discord channel. Just get to know, just be in there. That helps build the community. Just get to know people. Say hello. Get to know the founders. What's your Discord name in there?
Feel it G.
Feel it G.
Feel it G.
Feel it G. So professional. I love it. Feel it, G. What's your Discord name? Oh, Joy. Yeah. That's right. Hop in there, just get to know them, be part of the community. Those are all free things. I understand there's not a lot of capital floating around sometimes. So even if you don't have capital, do those things. Then if you do want to get involved financially, then again, let's see, how do I get this back up here? Pre-sale. I'll leave this link once again. Should I try it? Let me, surely MetaMask. Surely you'll work. Maybe it's because I need a custom notes. Maybe. I don't know. It's popping up and going away. MetaMask. Go to this pre-sale here, and I can't do it live because my MetaMask is not working. And also I want to do an OTC deal. But yeah, let's go to this link. You can buy there again. USDC, USDT, USDC.E. On many different chains. It's nice. You don't have to do a lot of bridging or anything like that. Let's see what else we got here. How does the government view crypto? How's the Malaysian government with crypto?
So this is definitely a very interesting point, and also another good reason why we're in Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia, from the landscape in general, has been quite accepting of crypto, but not at the same time being negative at the same time. So it's a very weird balance where there is definitely a gray line that is sort of allowing the space to develop first before they make a decision. So you see the hardliners like Singapore, where they are creating their own CBDC to sort of control that narrative of crypto from their side, while at the same time you see the other side, which is Hong Kong, where they are opening their doors up completely to the whole world. Like, hey, crypto bros, come here. So definitely we are in a very nice market, I would say, and definitely a place that we are seeing that crypto is being more welcome. It's just about creating those rules of regulation to ensure that everyone's safe at the end of the day.
Okay, very good. And a small airdrop to James Pelton followers would be a nice present. You know what? I will do a quick giveaway. Okay, I haven't done one for a while. I'm a little sleep deprived, feeling extra giveaway-ish. Let's see. How should I do this? How about I'll give away 100 USDC, but you must put it into the Kirk pre-sale. How about that? How does that sound to you guys? Okay, and I can't like make you or anything. Once I send you it, you could be dishonest, but I'm trusting you to do what you say you're going to do. So what I want you to do, comment hashtag. Hold on, I don't want to say it till I have it ready to go. Let's see. Let's do hashtag Kirk. Okay, hashtag KERC, and I can't give 1,000. I'm sorry. I'm not that sleep deprived. But let's do I'll do 100, but you have to put it into Kirk. Do all lowercase. I don't know if it's case sensitive. I can never remember. So, but this is the advantage when you get up in the middle of the night. Like Dustin gets to be a part of this. Paul gets to be a part of this. See, don't sleep.
Well,
and you do giveaways.
The old saying is crypto never sleeps, so neither do we.
Yep, that's right. Well, and hey, this is a special treat for any of my Asian or European. Is it still pretty early in Europe? Yeah.
7 hours.
Okay, so yeah, you could still be awake in Europe. So I almost always focus on my US people. I've never done an AMA at this time, I don't think. So special treat for my European, African, Asian, pretty much everyone who's not in the US. Special treat. This giveaway is for them. Wise Choice Money says it's 4 a.m. where I'm at. Man, thank you. Maybe I should just make Wise Choice Money the winner for being up at 4 a.m. watching James Pelton and John from Kirk. All right, let's go ahead. I'll give you guys a couple more minutes here. It's 11 p.m. in Europe, right?
AM.
Oh, right. Oh, right. Thank you. Sleep deprived. Huge fan, bro. Can't miss a live from you. Thank you. That's a wise choice. See the pun there? All right, let's go ahead and do this giveaway. Let's see. I got to show you guys it, though, so you know I'm not just cheating. Let's see. It's so much harder for my laptop.
Yeah.
Stop screen.
You get so used to the real estate of 2 screens.
Oh, man. Totally. Okay, here we go. Here is the giveaway. We got 18 people entered. This is for 100 USDC. Draw. Oh man, do you guys feel? Oh, I'm in there twice. I don't know how that happened. I hope I win. What if Start? Oh!
Rigged.
James Felton won.
Rigged.
Let's see. That's not gonna work. It's my Twitch account too.
Yeah, you gotta.
We're gonna have to do this again. I'm so sorry, guys. We need to get off here, but let's do it again. Let's just do KERC again. Oh, I can just do redraw. Okay, perfect. Way to go, StreamYard. Let's do redraw. And hopefully I don't win this. So that's the first time I've won my own giveaway. Let's see what we got here. AYA. Congratulations, man. You are the winner of 100 USDC. So what I need you to do is shoot me a Discord DM. I might not get to it until tomorrow, but it's just James Felton on Discord. Okay. Shoot me a DM. Just need your wallet address. I'll send you 100 USDC. You need to stick it into the KERC, the Kirk pre-sale. Okay. Congratulations. So we'll go ahead and wrap up there. Want to first thank you guys in the audience. You guys are amazing. Thank you, especially all of you who are up in the middle of the night watching this AMA. Appreciate you guys very much. If you're watching this as a replay, you cannot win the giveaway. It was live and it's over now. But appreciate you guys very much watching. Appreciate all the support. Again, that's the only reason I can come out to Malaysia. My first time in Asia, actually. And the only reason I'm able to do things like this is because you guys watch. I mean, I know that we get along great, but I don't think that if I was just had no audience, I don't know that I would have been invited. So you guys, appreciate you very much. And appreciate you guys as well. Thanks for building something in the space. Thanks for letting us be a part of it. And I wish you success. And let me know how I can help you out in the journey. So awesome. We'll wrap up there. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.